Whew, okay, I've just had a haircut, so I'm ready. I'm ready to go. Now, I want to show you Visual Studio Code in a little bit more detail before we start actually just typing in here. I want you to understand how it works. So let's just take a step back. So you can see at the bottom right of the screen, there's this Go Live server that I'm running. But where did that come from? Well, let's look. This extensions tab here, if you click on that and you just start typing live server, it should come up. Wait for it. There you go. And the one I installed is this purple one here called live server. So I obviously won't have to install it because I've just done it now, but that's how you can install it on your Visual Studio. If you click the Explorer button, we're back to now the main tab. So what I want to show you is let's just quickly create very simple JavaScript. Let's call it an index HTML page. Let's just set up a standard HTML type document. Now within the body tag, what I want to show you is this. What you're going to see shortly is that JavaScript has to be written within script tags. And let's just make something up. Let's just say let A equals 5, let B equals 10, and then let's console log A plus B. So you are very familiar now with what console log is. And let's run this code. All you need to do is click on Go Live. So the page is blank, but check this. You can see 127001. And then this here is the port number. All you need to know is that this is your machine, your actual computer. But what do I mean about a local machine? We'll have a look at this quickly. Stepping back, let's just discuss this local server in a little bit more detail so you start actually intuitively understanding what it is we're doing with Visual Studio Code, writing code, and then running that in the browser. Now, when you request a website externally, and by externally I just mean you've got an internet connection and you type in a website, say it's google.com. When you type in that request has to go and fetch that website. It has to go and fetch that HTML and CSS for your browser to interpret. Where does it fetch it from? Well, your request gets sent to a server, an external server. It can go to multiple servers. It can go to a root server, which then sends it to a name server. This can happen multiple times for the internet to actually try and find that website that hosts your .html and your JavaScript. And let's say that eventually it finds your website's HTML and JavaScript code. It sends it back through all the servers and all that kind of thing into your browser. And then your browser can run it and display it on your computer. Even in these external environments, a lot of people use Visual Studio Code. But there's an alternative way, especially when you are developing websites initially. You don't want to be hosting this thing on live environments. You just want to run it from your computer screen. You don't even necessarily want to have an internet connection. So let's get rid of the external server environment. And what are we left with? Well, an alternative is this local server. And all the local server does is when you go and request that specific website that you're developing, instead of going to external servers, it just does a loop. And it finds it within its own computer, with its own machine. That's all that a local server is. A local server just means that your computer is actually serving that file to your browser, instead of you going to an external server environment. Hope that makes sense. Let's continue. So now that you know what a local server is, I want to show you something. Let's inspect this page quickly. If you click on the console, well, there's our JavaScript. Remember, I'll switch back to it quickly. We went console log A plus B, which is 15. That's exactly what we see here. If you click on the network tab and you refresh the page, there's the file. It's literally fetched the file. Your computer's fetched your own file. And if you click on that, you can obviously see that we've got no HTML embedded in there. So that's what I wanted to get across. I just want you to understand what we're doing when we're actually typing in Visual Studio Code. Let's continue.